Hi everybody, Tara Green here. We're going to talk about the big super moon, October the 17th, the Hunter moon. The moon is going to be really big. It hasn't been this big in 17 years because the moon is closest to the earth. So the full moon, 24 degrees Aries, 35 minutes, happens exactly at 4:26 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 7:26 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and 5 hours later in Greenwich Mean Time. So we can see here, here's the chart. When I set this one for Washington, D.C. Now, the interesting thing is, of course, the full moon is at 24 degrees Aries right there. And there's the sun, of course, directly opposite at 24 degrees Aries. Now, for Washington, D.C., the sun is right on the horizon here, exactly 24 degrees. Now, the sun is also connected to two very big stars, very important ones in the sky, Arcturus. And a lot of channelers talk about the Arcturians. I channel from that big star too, and Spica, which is one of the most important stars in the sky in the constellation of Virgo, which is actually the largest star in the sky. I don't do sidereal astrology, but it is there. So the two of them exactly 24 degrees of Libra, right conjunct the sun, right opposite that moon. So that is really, really powerful to have that there. Also, Juno, the feminine form of genius, also at 24 degrees Libra. I'm putting it out that I'm going to be able to get support, money, publishing deal to finish my book on Juno because she's super, super important, and I'm so excited. That's one of my big dreams. I'm putting that out there right now. So Juno, feminine form of genius, conjunct Spica, the goddess Virgo, who holds the wheat sheaf. She was the goddess worshipped in the Eleusinian mysteries. She is Ceres, Demeter, and the sun there, 24 degrees of Libra. So this degree and these degrees have been aspected by Uranus and Pluto for a number of years. You can see the part of fortune right there. Also, the lot of fortune at 24 degrees Aries, exactly conjunct Eris, who is Mars's sister, kind of a battle-thirsty sister. So you can see there's also a big, what they call a grand cardinal cross going on here from the moon, with Chiron connected to it. Chiron at 21 degrees of Aries, and Eris to Mars at 22 degrees of Aries, which rules this full moon in Aries. 22 degrees. Mars, again, that's a master number, but Mars is not strong in Cancer. He's considered to be weak, drowning. It's about suppressed emotions, family battles, family feuds, arguments over water, disasters from water, like the big hurricane, the floods going on, things like that. That's all Mars and Cancer energy. So there's Mars up there in the 9th house, very close to the midheaven for this chart, 28 degrees Cancer, directly opposite Pluto, right at the bottom of the chart there. So Mars, again, squaring the sun, Spica, Arcturus, and Vesta. Super powerful there. That is a huge, 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 huge grand cardinal cross. And of course, these crosses, what this is the sacred geometry between the planets. These are 90-degree angles. You can see that between the planets. So this is a very, very dynamic full moon. Full moons are always culminations of new moons. And there's Venus at the very last degree of Scorpio. Now she is, again, not strong in Scorpio. That's Mars territory. So really these two lovers, the paramours, are not strong, but Venus is in a very powerful sextile here to Pluto at 29 degrees. Neptune is trining Venus there at 27 degrees of Pisces. Pluto and Neptune are still in that sextile. Neptune is sextiling Uranus. Uranus is opposite Venus. So in Taurus, so again, it's good for crypto markets going up, at least for right now. Uranus opposite Venus is very chaotic energy in your love life. Expect the unexpected, twists, turns, never a dull moment. Thinking outside the box, wanting freedom, big inventions, pioneering. Venus and Scorpio is at their last degree here before this full moon. She's entering Sagittarius later at 3:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But for her right here at this snapshot of the full moon, she is extremely powerful. So mysterious, obsessive, possessive, all of the sexual energy, dirt, the Diddy thing. We were sorry to hear about Liam Payne from One Direction passing away. Could have been suicide. Could have been pushed. Don't really know. But anyway, that's Venus and Scorpio, like detective work and researchers and mysteries. And again, Uranus opposite Venus, sudden death. So, yes, things are unpredictable. And there's Jupiter retrograde up there at 21 degrees of Gemini, trining the sun, and sextiling the moon. So Jupiter, even retrograde, is still bringing on all kinds of information, again, expanding that two-sidedness, that youthfulness, that open-mindedness, right? And Venus opposite Uranus makes it difficult for women. There's also big power struggles with women there. Venus sextile Pluto, going for the corporate power, of course, that represents, what's her name? Okay, Saturn right there at 13 degrees of Pisces, sextile Ceres, the great mother in Capricorn. Again, then they're highlighting these mid degrees here. So any planets at mid degrees are being aspected by Saturn and Ceres in Capricorn there. So, there's also this in conjunct between Uranus, you can see the green dotted line, Uranus and Taurus, to the sun there. There seems to be another one here from Neptune to the sun, which is not really drawn on there properly. Sometimes Astro has these kind of very large diagrams. Venus in Scorpio, also in conjunct to the moon. Venus in conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is a time of big healing, I would say. Chiron's been in Aries for forever, it feels like. It was involved at that big eclipse that happened April the 8th. Big eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries is this is an opposition point actually right now. It's not to the degree, but it is an opposition point. Chiron is at 20 degrees there. So think about where you've come from since then. In the last 6 months, the effects of that eclipse are still in effect, of course. Pluto at the very last degree of Capricorn. What I did here also, let's see if I can just pop this up here. Yes, my intuition said, let's look at what the U.S. chart looks like for this. And it was very, very interesting. Now, this is the same full moon here in Aries with the sun exactly on this ascendant. They're very powerful, connected to the U.S. Saturn in Libra. In its in its own 10th house, but in this chart, Saturn, the power behind the scenes, and Juno, there's a Juno connection, and Eris, the troublemaking goddess, connected to the south node here. So this is the U.S. chart. There's a Mars, Mercury. U.S. has Mercury retrograde in Cancer, connected to where Mars is right now. Jupiter is connected to the U.S. Mars in Gemini. Chiron is connected to the moon. Chiron is connected to the moon. In the U.S. on this full moon. So there's a Chiron connection. The U.S. is going through its Chiron return, one of many Chiron returns, about 5 of them. And then Ceres, the great mother, and Sedna, who I've been working with a little bit more, the Inuit goddess of the unconscious, connected to Saturn here. Saturn and Pisces. So again, this is the current chart, current lunation. And you can see Pluto is not that far away still. At 29, Capricorn, Pluto is still in effect with the U.S. Pluto return, which was at 27 Pluto. I believe it's still going on. The south node here of the U.S. is in Aquarius. The moon is at 29 Aquarius. So again, the moon of the U.S. chart is involved in all of these 29-degree planets here. But I find it very interesting to see those kinds of very heavy connections here with all of that 24 degrees of Libra. So again, this is all the U.S. chart, all of that Cancerian energy. Again, sparking off just more intense energy. So the battles are stronger here with the U.S. Mars right on the U.S. Jupiter there. So that kind of taking of sides. Now, what it means for you, of course, if you have any planets at 24 degrees of Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, and I would give that the leeway of, I'd say, 20 degrees to 29 degrees, you are going to be feeling this energy a lot. So Venus, again, will enter Sagittarius after this. There's a big climax here. Venus sextiles Pluto at 8:30 in the morning. That's Eastern Daylight Time. The moon squares Pluto at 3:26 p.m. So the energy is going to be intense till then when the moon goes void, of course, and it enters Taurus at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at tarottarot.com. Sending you many blessings.